What's up, Cowboys Nation? Your boy Mike Tag here. Hopefully you guys had a great Christmas as you're rolling in. Make sure you hit that subscribe, like, and share, all that kind of good stuff. We're getting back in the swing of things. It's New Year's is going to be approaching, and we're going to be focusing on the Canes. But, I said no Canes today. We're going to save it for a special show. But want to welcome Jeff and Greg. Jeff, how you doing this morning, my man?
Good morning. I'm good. Happy holidays, everybody.
Good, Greg. You said forget you, Mike. It's all about the you. I moved on from the Cowboys this year. I'm focused on Miami. That's what we get. I love it. That's all I wear now. So, what's happening, Greg?
I'm good, man. I'm fired up. Happy Merry Christmas. I hope y'all have a happy New Year. And that's what I'm thinking about right now, boy.
Yes. Yeah, I am. I was telling the story. I don't know if Mark's in. Mark will give me crap, but so Mark came through and he got me a ticket for the Cotton Bowls. And Mike, I got you hooked up. I said, but it's one ticket? He goes, that's all I could get. One ticket. I said, well, I can't fly out there by myself and go to the game by myself and do experience it by myself. I have to have my brother, my son, my father, someone else around me. I'm going to do that. So I'm going to hang out at the crib. We're going to have a nice little New Year's Eve party. Gonna watch Miami. And the last thing I'll say is I want this game probably as bad as any game I can remember in a long, long time. And I made the statement of just beat Ohio State, and whatever happens the rest of the way, I don't care. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you feel that way, Greg. I know, Jeff, you got no dog in the fight, so
I'm just going to be quiet. I'll sit this one out.
Yeah,
it's terrible.
That's all I want to. I want that game so bad. Shit. It's almost like our Super Bowl. I want it so bad, and to make up for some of that BS, I like to find that referee that threw that five-minute flag after everybody was going in the locker room, and I just want it bad. And my brother, who's an Ohio State fan, you know how we clashing. So we get this game. I don't care what happens after that. It's gonna be a perfect wrap.
Jeff, this is kind of like you're the neutral guy. So you probably could sit back and say, this is our Michael Irvin moment, because Michael Irvin can't let go of that Deion Sanders pass interference in the championship to this day. And Deion always tells him, man, you got to let it go, brother. You got to let it go, man. Maybe we do too, but I can't help it. I watch it. And we're going to see it 15 times. I don't know what the over and under showing that play during that game. Mm-hmm. I think you're going to see it a whole lot.
Mm-hmm. They will.
But anyway, hey, just we're winding down the season. It's obviously the season's over for the Cowboys. So I thought we just kind of look back and just kind of look at the good, the bad, and the ugly of the Dallas Cowboys 2025 season. I know the season started kind of in the offseason, a lot of hope. Then we had the dip with the Parsons, and then there was talk, and I don't know if, Jeff, you and I talked about it, maybe you mentioned it, but feels like kind of like a rebuild year. It seems like they just kind of threw it in this year to kind of build for the future, and if we'll get into that, looking at it, maybe that's what this year pretty much did. But I want to let you guys start, and if any guys in the chat want to add your comment, but would you rather start with the ugly and go to bad and finish on a good note, or do you want to get the good stuff out of the way and just bring this baby down to the bottom of the barrel and end the show that way?
I'm gonna let Greg decide, because I'm on a bah humbug spirit right now. So.
Yeah, I'm with you too. I want to start with the ugly. I don't want to. Let's just get the ugly out the way now. Take the trash out right now. Let's do that.
All right, so we're going to start with the ugly, and welcome everyone for joining the show. I see a lot of people rolling in. Make sure you hit the like button just below us, subscribe, and also we do have new memberships. You can join the Cowboys Cave Army. You can be part of the family. We did a giveaway on there for members. I gave away 2 $25 NFL gift cards. We're going to continue to be doing giveaways for the members, so I promise you, if you are a member, you're going to get something in return that's probably worth more than what the membership fees are. So definitely appreciate it. So, I mean, if we're going to get into the ugly is the defense. We're talking about the 32nd rated pass defense, 32nd overall. Quarterback rating, 109.7. That is all pro level of opposing quarterbacks. 40 yards plus big plays. They were number 1 in the NFL of giving that up. 20-plus big plays. They were number 4 in the NFL. Rushing, they gave up 4.7 yards a carry, which is Hall of Fame level. only 6 interceptions. That is 7 worse than they had last year with one of the worst defenses in the league. Sacks went down from 51 to 31. And again, that was one of the worst defenses they had last year. So it's just a bad trend of going backwards. And obviously the Parsons trade kind of started that snowball effect. But I'll be honest with you. I think if Parsons was here, I don't think it would be any better in looking at the scheme and looking at the way Eberflus runs. I wanted to give him an incomplete until after the trade. That didn't work out. So they got to blow this thing up, and we'll get deeper into it. But Jeff, what's your thoughts? And then Greg, follow up with the defense overall. I know it's not good.
Yeah. So go no further than who leads our team in tackles this season.
Sacks or tackles?
Tackles.
I believe it was a safety. I did look at it, didn't write it down.
It's Kenneth Murray Jr.
There you go. I knew
the
it was
much maligned Kenneth Murray Jr. Like, the amount of videos that I've seen of him looking absolutely clueless. If that's our leading tackler on the team, that just completely blows my mind. Now, this all is predicated back on what we did with Micah Parsons. Mm-hmm. If you're gonna trade Micah Parsons, I can't say it enough. You trade him before the draft, so that we get the draft capital this year, and then in this case, it would have been a retooling.
Yeah, that's my bad part. That's part of the bad, the front office. But yeah,
yes,
so I feel you.
That would have been a retooling, but we'd had draft capital this year to address a lot of the issues that we have on defense. We would have had more time for Eberflus to put in people to help our defense and help them learn the defense. Jerry got emotional and traded him in conference to one of our rivals. And because of that, we're going to get 2 late first-round draft picks, which essentially could be second-round draft picks.
Well, they took one of them for Quinnen, which that would be on the good side, but go ahead.
So, but that was what you can't get away from pressure on the quarterback and how much that covers up on the back end. You had our 3 first corners all coming back from knee injuries. You don't think we need somebody to get after the quarterback and speed up that clock?
Mm-hmm.
So where you address the middle, which we haven't addressed the middle since, I don't know how far back, Roy Glover and people like that, a defensive tackle position. You have no pass rush. You have your top 3 corners coming back from knee injuries and looking a shadow of their former selves. And no surprise that our defense is that bad. It was just, we have linebackers who look lost. Like, we traded for one, and how many weeks was it before I even saw him on the field or starting, Logan?
Yeah, he didn't even really hardly play. That was kind of a hit and swing and miss by us on that one.
So I don't know what we're doing. Like, so for me, instead of a retooling with getting the draft capital before when you get rid of Micah, this has become a full-on rebuild in terms of defense.
Yeah.
Now, but does that extend to we're just going to full-on rebuild the team?
Yeah.
Well,
what do you think? Well, I would just say the one just point and jump to Greg is Darren Woodson talked about it. The problem with his defense, we're never been strong up the middle. We are now, right, with D tackles, so we'll give him that. Linebacker, weak. Safeties, weak. We're just not strong up the gut. It's almost like if you're a baseball fan, it's, you got to be strong up the middle, right? Your middle infield, your center fielder, that is kind of the catcher. That is how championships are won. And for the Cowboys, that's been a problem, like you said, Jeff, for years upon years. We've never had 3 layers strong up the gut. But go ahead, Greg. What's your observations overall on the defense and the ugliness that it is?
The thing about the ugly for me is that it will continue to be ugly, because we can all sit here, and that's just the 3 of us, and we could easily and obviously, without even giving it thought, how the process should work before preseason, before the draft, et cetera, then flow into the regular season. 31 other teams do that. We don't. And because of that, all of the ugly that happened is a result of having a plumbing leak. And instead of finding out where the source of the leak is coming from, you're chasing little spurts. And you're chasing spurts when it's too late instead of fixing it from the root. And the root is exactly what Jerry admitted after 30-something years on Get Up. Well, he didn't admit it on Get Up. He admitted it in the press, and Get Up played it last week. Jerry said, the problem with the Cowboys has been management, meaning he's admitting that he has been the problem managing the team, which is exactly what we're talking about, exactly what Jeff just said, how the process should occur prior to the draft. And he's been chasing rabbits instead of getting the general manager to start where he needs to start, do the process that every other team does every year, which is academic, before the draft, and then you move forward. Because he admitted it, everybody in Cowboy land that were texting me and coming back in their comments on social media saying, we saw what Jerry said. The issue is, what is he going to do about it? Or is he just saying it just to admit it, but he's going to be the same Jerry that he was? If we did all the right things, we would have had first the general manager, and all this would have occurred. And unfortunately, what I'm afraid of is that we're going to continue to make this a reoccurrence. And by doing it this way, there's no way we're going to start off the right way, sign people before the draft. Lower amount you have to pay them. You can make other deals. The draft comes, you got equity. After the draft, then you can see what you have to put on the practice squad. As training camp goes, you can see where people move and shake. By the time the season starts, you have a team that you can say, we're solid, let's see where we're at. Then when free agency kicks in, boom, you got some resources to go out there and pick up a few plug and play. But we're not doing that. And unless he changes and this year has an epiphany and say, you know what, I'm going to swallow my sword, my pride, and my ego, and I'm going to go out there and get a general manager and not a kiss ass, then it'll be the same. And the ugly for me is everything we saw, but the antidote to that ugly started back with management. And if management would do exactly what needs to be done, which is a routine process, this is not a Rubik's Cube, I would feel better, even if the season started off and we didn't look that good, because I'll know we have a solid management process in place, and it's only going to get better because you have somebody who knows football, somebody who knows how to manage football as the general manager. And then Jerry can go out there and fly his helicopter and go look for oil in the Mojave Desert all he wants. He can come down to Florida and go in my backyard and look for it. I give him tea. Yeah. But until that happens, the ugly that we're talking about, at the end of bringing up all the ugly, we're going to say, so what is Jerry going to do about it? And that's the sad part. That's the very sad part.
Well, and the thing is, I don't know if you guys are big into documentaries, but I love documentaries, love sports documentaries. Yeah. Just finished the Elway one; it was excellent. But over the break, I watched the Tampa Bay Buccaneers ones. I don't know if you guys watched that. It's like 8 parts. It's really good. It's a history of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's funny. All these teams are getting all these documentaries. This one was really good. It's on Amazon. I have a really huge respect for the Glazer family. They're family owned. I don't know how many owners they got. Every interview, there was a kid, there was a grandkid, there was someone in there, and it all said owner. They ran it, probably one of the best run organizations that I've seen through a documentary. Maybe there's other ones, I don't know. But what I mean is they were the owners. They hired a general manager, and they had McKay, right? They had Rich McKay, and they let McKay do what he needed to do until they didn't think it was good enough anymore, and they trumped him. So they were ownerships, and you say get a general manager, but they would jump ahead if they didn't think it was right. The example would be Tony Dungy. Rich McKay did not want to get rid of Tony Dungy. Tony Dungy was really stubborn. I loved him, but he was stubborn on the offense. He was very loyal to his guys. Loyalty got him fired. They told Tony Dungy, they jumped ahead of McKay and said, you need to get an offensive coordinator. We have got to get some sort of offense after they lost, what was it, 13-9, whatever it was. They lost that playoff game. They went out and got an offensive coordinator. They lose a game. They lost another game, but they played better. Maybe that was the game, but they played better offensively. They were there. And Tony Dungy, for whatever reason, he fired him. He fired the offensive coordinator, and the ownership said, this isn't the direction that we want to go. So they ended up firing him. Rich McKay was really pissed off about it. Because they hired a coach without McKay. They did a coaching search. McKay did this coaching search. They didn't like what he was coming back with. So then I think they wanted Lovie Smith maybe, and Lovie Smith was just like Dungy. So why are we going to have the same? So they went and got Gruden. They shook it up, right? We're going to get an offensive guy. They traded for Gruden. Very bold trade.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they gave up number 1 draft picks for him. They get a Super Bowl out of it, So then they went back to another general manager, and they still they always had a buffer. But if they had to make that decision, they would do it, where Jerry doesn't have that buffer. Right. Jerry, I'm the judge, jury, and executioner, and I got no one to tell me I'm wrong and no one to tell me I'm right. And that's been the biggest problem with the Cowboys organization. So I think they should always have a buffer in any walk of life. But I don't know. I'm just rambling on my thoughts on the Cowboys. But it is an appreciation when you see these other – because I'm always like, well, if these family-run businesses never succeed. Well, the Buccaneers have proven – that a family-run multifamily, not just, the Hunts or the mayor or whatever. This is like 5 or 6 kids in there, but they still defaulted to the GM until it wasn't what they thought was best.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just side note.
Yeah.
The Glazer family bought Manchester United probably 10, 20 years ago over in England. It didn't work out too well for them there.
Yeah.
Well, England,
because it was run like a family business.
Like a family. Yeah. And the thing is, I feel blessed and to be a Cowboys fan since I was 5. I wouldn't want to be any other fan.
Yes, sir.
But it's almost a curse because I can see if there were several teams sprinkled out the league that had the management scheme that Jerry has. But why the team that I grew up at 5 years old, why would I have the unfortunate lottery of picking the only team where after Stram, that Jerry is wearing every single hat on the team, and there's 31 other teams marching this way, and he's marching that way, and you can't tell him that he's not the one that's right. And we get flack from every other team all year long because of all the success we've had. It's only taken us, 12 years to get in a Super Bowl after being inaugurated in 1960. Takes these other teams 50, 60 years. And we got 5 up to now. But those 3, the only way I attribute those 3 to Jerry is because he got lucky in the lottery and picked the right person and not realizing it. And that's
he was too busy trying to pay back all that money that he spent. Yeah. And so he wasn't focused on football.
And after that, he hasn't been able to roll the roulette wheel and get anybody else up there because of him not having a general manager. And it sucks because when we start talking about the positive of this team going forward, we started to get on man, it's going to look good. Like we did last year, getting that positive. Yeah. And Vegas said, you're only going to win 7 games. We're like, bullshit. We're going to win more than this. And then we got to come to the reality of JJ and doing his sabotaging. And I've been saying ever since I've known you, Mike, I've said this ever since before I known you when I was in my 20s, that every year Jerry does one thing minimum to sabotage the Cowboys' success. And this year was no less than that. It was no different. And now that he's admitted it, it gives you a little bitty hope that maybe he's thinking about something in the offseason of getting a general manager and there'll be a big press release. But at the same time, he's a used car salesman, so he leads you on. And then he comes back to reality the way he is. And it just kills me. It kills me.
Yeah. The interesting thing, too, is Darren Woodson, again, great interview on the pivot. He even said, they asked him, they said, did you see Jerry? Much. And he said, we never saw Jerry. When Jimmy was there, you never saw Jerry. And it wasn't until after, right? Mm-hmm. So Jerry was so busy getting his money back and doing marketing. And he's
Mhm.
no one can deny from an ownership standpoint, there ain't nobody better than Jerry. I mean, look at the marketing, look at the notoriety. I mean, the Dallas Cowboys, yeah, they were America's team, but they were as a downward spiral when he took over that team. But he's made the NFL a ton of money, and obviously he's made the Cowboys a ton of money. So I'll always give him the respect as the owner, never so much as the general manager, because I think it's always been an Achilles heel. I just think he's emotional, and it was proven in Parsons. It was proven with Des Bryant. It was proven in all these contract negotiations. But I mean, just truth be told, is owners have been involved, like being on the field. I did not even realize it, but the Denver owner, back in the drive and all those things, he was on the sideline right next to the coach cheering and doing all that. So it's not that you don't hate that. It's what I say is a buffer. It's not like he's a meddling owner. Oh, he's on the field, he shouldn't be on the field. It's that buffer that they need to have with a GM. Bolin had a GM. They always had that kind of buffer that went in. And for Jerry, it's just not going to be. And I don't think it's going to change. I think Steven's going to be the same. But Jerry's getting up there in years. And if he wants to sniff another Super Bowl, he's got to change the mindset. Now, I would say is with the offense being, the front office being bad, let's just go back to the defense and just focus on that for a second. What do you do? He talked about, continuity, and we've had 3, right? It was this would, if we make a change, it'd be 4 coordinators in 4 years. We've had 3 in 3 years. Are you risking a continuity issue? I originally was for that, keeping it going, but after what I've seen the last 6 weeks, when the game's on the line and when everything mattered, he doesn't do anything. Like when I watch Minnesota and you see what Flores does, or you see what some of these other coordinators are doing, they absolutely stifle teams. I mean, the Detroit Lions, that's how stupid I am, and I should have known better. Uncle Cheech always says, never chase your losses. So Thursday, you have Dallas playing a backup third-string quarterback. You got Detroit playing a third-string quarterback. Detroit, everything on the line. Dallas, pride on the line. Dallas was 9.5-point favorite. I said, well, they'll win by 10 easily. Nope, they win by 7. I lose that money. Now, I started with a little pool of money. I said, all right, I start with $150 beginning of the season. I now have $318 left. I said, there is no way in hell that Vikings quarterback is going to beat these Lions. That team's going to beat the Lions. I put $318. I put my whole pot on it. I said, this is easy money. I'll get to $600. I'm ready to roll. Christmas came early, and the quarterback didn't do it. They had like 20 yards, I think, throwing the ball. That terrible. Defense was relentless, and Detroit had everything to play for. But you could see what a good defense and a great defensive mind can do. They were blitzing all over the place. Our defense looks like a Pop Warner defense. It's line them up and go. There's no creativity. There's no disguise. There's no nothing. So that man's got to go. I'm just sorry. I got to go 4 for 4. I don't know about you, Jeff.
No, he's got to go. He's got to go. Just what you said. Brian Flores, saw it last night when you watched the Texans.
Yes.
You see them, and you see the safety stepping up, and he's falling back. Stepping up. You see the linebacker stepping up. You don't know. The offensive line and the quarterback don't know who's coming, if they're coming. Mm-hmm. How many are coming? Is it 5? Is it 6?
Yeah.
And then I can't tell what they're doing in the back end.
Mm-hmm.
We look vanilla on defense. We know exactly. Okay, well, we're running 4. We're rushing 4. All right, well, yep. Hey, I know who's coming. He's coming from the side right there. We're good. Like, there's not a lot of imagination with our defense. It really looks plain. It looks like what you would show in preseason.
Yeah.
Base 4-3. Are they running man or are they running zone on the back end? It's really, really basic. So from that standpoint and from what I've seen, he needs to go. Eberflus needs to go. You need someone with a little bit more imagination, but you also have to give them the pieces in order to do better as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to say that he's terrible because he was not given the players to be successful, but just from a scheme perspective, it didn't look anywhere. Even if you had the players, it didn't look like it was going to get any better.
Yeah, my thing is what frustrates me, and Greg jump in too is when I watched Minnesota and I watched the other game before, it's like Detroit. Everything was going good early. Like you're getting pressure. He's doing stuff, and then he just backs off, and he just kind of backed away from it. They adjust. He doesn't adjust because that's what it was about. Minnesota made adjustments. Detroit made adjustments. We just stick with the same plan, and we weren't doing it. That's a part. And you had everything to play for. The funny thing is that I said we had to get 11 wins to get in, and I think you were the one who said, Jeff, you said just play it out and see what happens. They could probably get in with 10 wins. 10 wins is probably going to get you in now.
It will get you in.
The Packers are pretty much, I think they're in trouble. So you had opportunity to do it. So Greg, I would say, what would you do with a hire? We know Jerry. We know they typically like to hire familiarity. Eberflus had history with the Cowboys. I would just say if it was me, and I want to get you guys' opinion, I would look at Houston. I would look at Minnesota. You're not going to get their defensive coordinator, right? You can't really hire them. Give me someone on their staff. Like some people even talked about Al Harris, the great job he's doing up in Chicago as secondary coach. I would just go find somebody from a defense that's whooping ass, hire that one of their position guys, and say just replicate exactly what you guys are doing over there. Same thing. Tell me what you need. I mean, what's your thoughts, Greg?
Well, if I'm Jerry, I'm going all in on Brian Flores, period. And I know that they may not want to get rid of him, but money talks.
If he's under contract, you can't do lateral moves. He's not
money talks. Money, and we don't know that. We don't know if he's and money talks. And if we can get a Brian Flores, somebody who's aggressive, no nonsense, he's definitely no nonsense, that would help us tremendously. And he will tell Jerry, because he has stood up to the NFL. He stood up to the owners of the Miami Dolphins. He will tell Jerry, this is what I'm going to do for this team, but this is what you need to get me. You get me this, and I can do this. And he will do that. And that alone, even though Jerry wants to stick in there as management and keep his son as this quasi-general manager without giving him the title, Brian Flores can make up for a lot of that. And with a Brian Flores, you will see a distinctive difference on defense. May not be the perfect defense we want, but it'll be a step up rather than.
Hey, Greg, I got a question because I have some friends that are sitting here texting me. Do you think Brian Flores would take a lateral position, or you think Brian Flores is like, I need to be a head coach?
I think he wants to be a head coach. I don't think he's taking a lateral.
Listen, I think Brian Flores would, and this is why. Brian Flores knows how the owners, and I'm gonna say it, how the owners conspired. How they all conspired against him when the Miami Dolphins told him this and that. He didn't come up and lie about it. He told the truth. The rest of the owners conspired to make sure that he wasn't gonna get a job. Mike Tomlin made sure he went and talked to management to get the man back in the system. I know that Flores can be a head coach, but I think Flores would take the Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator job because the very next step after that would most definitely be a head coach position. And I think he wants to be a head coach. He should be. I don't think any of those 31 owners, because of what happened in Miami, I don't think they're going to swallow their pride and say, you know what, let's bring Mike Flores in.
Well, we got a lot in the chat. So Flores is suing the NFL. Jerry's not going to hire him. Jerry protects the NFL. We're not getting Flores. And, that's the reason Jerry won't hire Flores. He wants someone, he likes his puppets. Shoddy praised Flores. Stephen Jones praised Flores. Then it was Jerry. He's their target. All three of them, praised him. Maybe, Jerry's got to be desperate. This has just not been this season has been a very bad look for them in the aspects of expectation was there, and the defense held as, I've gotten arguments with people yesterday, just morons, but the defense held this team back, not the offense. People were, Dak, you guys couldn't win. Fucking Dak had number one passing offense, number one this, number one that. You had top receivers. You had two receivers with 1,000. You had this running back with 1,000. He's averaging 4.8 yards a carry, which we'll get to the good stuff. But this offense was championship made. The reason sometimes I believe the offense stumbled, sometimes it was shoddy, all right, maybe the play concept, whatever. But I think the offense stumbled because the defense was so bad that they had to play perfect football, and then they get down, and then it changes the way that you want to be on offense. Since they're a run-first offense early on when they have the lead, so that's where I think a lot of it is. But Jeff, you have any thoughts on a hire? What you would do? Would you go outside the box? Would you look for a established guy? I saw a college name, Georgia's defensive guy, as an option. I don't know if I'd go college right now because I think the Cowboys need now. We don't have time to a learning curve.
Yeah, so for me, I'm looking at maybe someone from the Texans who's bringing, or maybe someone from the Brian Flores tree. But I'm looking someone at the Texans. I love what their defense does.
Yeah,
like their offense isn't really the greatest, but that defense is always putting them in great positions on the field. So for me, I'm looking for someone like that. I want to see quarterbacks sitting there wondering, oh, hey, I got to snap this ball and I don't know who's coming. Like I barely know who the mic is. Mm-hmm. So that's what I want to see from this. But I haven't seen that in our defense in years. Yeah. And it's disappointing because, back in our heyday, our defense used to hurt people's feelings. And I love that. I don't see that right now. And I don't even see the players on defense that are capable of doing it. And even when we spent first round, second round talent on defense, it hasn't panned out. Outside of Micah, it hasn't panned out. So, Greg is always big on this. Greg's like, hey, your scouting department, you need to listen to what your scouting department is saying. You need to do what they're asking you to do. You need to take stock in what they're telling you. Whose skill set transcends to the NFL? Because we've missed a lot.
Yeah.
We've missed a lot.
Yeah. And I would say this too is there's been some college guys that go. I need someone who's going to be aggressive. I talked about the Cowboys teams, and you guys know, man, it's always the triplets are talked about. And this was one of, again, Darren Woodson's problem of probably not getting in the Hall of Fame because they overshadowed everything else. But make no mistake about it. The defense was unstoppable. I mean, the defense was one of the main reasons that they won championships. Look at the Bills' offense. The Bills had one of the best offense. People forget that. The Bills' offense was top-notch. They shut them down in both Super Bowls. Go look at the Tom Brady and look at his losses against the Giants. They had a prolific offense. The Giants had no offense, but they had this unbelievable defense. Look at the Eagles against the Chiefs. The Eagles, it was all defense. Defense wins championships. Defense gives you the best opportunity to win. And the Cowboys have had the worst defense in the last 4 or 5 years continually. There was one year where their defense was rated high, but it was really smoke and mirrors because their schedule was light. Every top team they played shredded them. Then when they played the Bills, I think they got like 250 yards against them rushing. So it was kind of smoke and mirrors. The Cowboys have had that problem, and that's what I've said. It's been their continual problem because what happens in the playoffs, it gets amplified. If you can't stop the run and can't run the football, you're going to get exposed in the playoffs. And the Cowboys could not stop the run in the playoffs, and that was their biggest part of their demise mostly. So I don't.
Yeah, it's what you said. It's the Green Bay Packers game in the playoffs. What they did to us is what Dallas does to be successful. Mm-hmm. Dak is not. I don't really want Dak in shotgun 75% of the time. I want him under center. Yeah. And if he's under center, handing the ball off, that means, hey, our run game, and we have 3 first-rounders on the offensive line when they're all healthy. Our run game is doing damage. When our run game does damage and they got to bring people forward, hey, I like that. Pickens and CD on the outside, we are tough to beat. When Dak can get into play action, when you have to bring more people up, when you have to blitz Dak, man, he is surgical. Yeah. But when you just drop him back there 75% of the time, it doesn't work well for us.
Yeah. And speaking of that, running, we have to worry. We got several people that he needs to sign.
Well, we're going to get into that.
And Jerry, I really think what he's afraid of doing, getting a GM on top of his narcissism, he doesn't want to have to fire one of his sons because, and he wouldn't fire him. He'd put him in a nonchalant title and probably still pay him the money. But that's additional money coming out of the Jones pocket to pay for a GM. See, Jerry is a used car salesman. If he can keep that money from paying a GM, he'll do that, and at the detriment of the team. But if he gets a GM, he's got to pay that GM. That's money that's not in the budget. Not that he can't, but that's money that currently is in the budget because it's family money rotating within itself right now. This money will be going out of the family, going to a GM, a proper GM, and Jerry looks at them dollars, and then he looks at his oil receipts and his other investments, and he lets that overshine what he needs to do for the team. Jerry's best days could be ahead of him if he hires that GM and then steps out in his helicopters and does his business. He would relax a little bit more. The anxiety would be a little bit less, and it'll all be generated toward making money, not making money and coming back and trying to deal with all the ills of the Cowboys. And his son could help be that buffer for him in making that oil and going to Jerry. Look, me and the GM are talking, and the GM told me this is what he needs and this and that. And Jerry, we really got to have this. Let's go get it. And if he does that, it'll be a whole different scenario, and then we could really, really have hope.
So I got a question.
In the meantime, that defense, if we don't do the right thing in the draft to get some defensive backs, linebackers and safeties, and then develop them with a serious defensive coordinator, we will ruin those guys in the first 2 seasons of their career.
So are we saying we're all saying that defense is obviously our most critical need?
Yeah.
Are there any bad things, whether it be special teams or offense? Because we've stuck with the defense, but are there any bad things that you guys see, special teams or offensive wise, that kind of was part of our downfall this season?
Well, we can complement the special teams. We can complement some other things that weren't really weak, but could use some plug and play, as I say. But we need to address the biggest problem first. Because in the draft, as you get down to later rounds, that's where we're going to start picking up some of these people to complement those other issues on special teams and anywhere else on the team. Because a lot of players make the team on special teams. Our special teams was decent. Our special teams were decent, but we can complement those, and that typically happens anyway in the draft.
All right. So I said that was a leading question, because if I go back and look at that Washington game, there was times where, and it's almost like Dak is so hell-bent on being a pocket quarterback. We had to play, I think it was a 3rd and 7,
exactly,
a 3rd and 11. They're in man defense. Yeah. All he sees is the back of everyone's jerseys.
Yeah.
He tries to throw this pass there was no way it was going to get there. All he had to do was run, slide. It's an easy first down.
Yeah.
So I still have some issues with Dak's decision making, because that was a 7-point game that didn't need to be a 7-point game.
No, it should. It definitely did. It definitely did.
And it's usually the first 2 quarters or first quarter and a half, our offense looks pretty decent. And then for some reason, they take the foot off the gas and it's, hey, we're going to run on first down. And if we get 4 or 5 yards, we're going to run on second down and pass on third. If we get stuffed or we get 1 or 2 yards, we're in shotgun. They don't even think about the run, and we're just throwing the ball. I mean, there's no creativity to it.
No. And that's a shame. Because, go ahead, Mike.
No, I was just going to say, I know the play you were talking about because I was screaming.
I screamed at the TV.
It cost me them covering. It was right there, and he could have got 20 yards if he wanted to, but he was hell bent on throwing the ball. And I think he's done a better job, I think, running this year more than years past. Which I always said, just run when you need to, get the first down, slide, and then you got 4 more plays. Not trying to be Michael Vick or anyone like that. Just use your legs smart. Like who was the running back? Was it against us? The quarterback ran like 50 yards on us. We're so down. I think it was our defense, or it was a game I was watching because we were in man, and he just was. I think it was McCarthy for some reason. It was somebody, but yeah. So I agree. The other thing I would say on special teams, just to piggyback, I think a lot of special teams come down to coaching. And I saw we need a new special teams coach. And it's not so much Aubrey's fine, right? Turpin's fine. but the scheme and how you're using your players on punt and kickoff coverage, I thought we were pretty bad. I thought we were pretty bad this year. Teams are starting, very, midfield sometimes, 40-yard line. And it's hard enough the way the NFL has set it up to where most teams, if you screw up, you're starting in midfield and you only really need about 10 yards to get a field goal opportunity. So I think that's one of the other areas they may want to look at. But to Greg's point, special teams is built on your lighter draft picks, guys that are trying to make the team on special teams. So that's what it is. Any other good or bad? Because I do want to finish on a positive note, and I want or bad and ugly. I want to get into some good stuff. So, and the good stuff, just to preface to save time, we're looking at the cap, we're looking at free agency, and we're looking at really the offense. That's what I think is good. And if there's anything else in your head that you want to add, then we'll get into that.
Well, the last thing on the bad for me is Jerry making a decision about Diggs. And making a decision early about Diggs. Diggs doesn't really have a lot of confidence that he's going to be back. He knows he's being questioned. He knows his game has been exposed. I don't know if he has the confidence. But I would like for Jerry to make a decision on Diggs early, because if he makes a decision on Diggs right away, that will determine in the draft how much they put precedence on safeties and corners versus linebackers first, or vice versa. So the last part for me on the bad is for Jerry to make a decision on Diggs as soon as possible.
Yeah, and I've got going into the good. I've got Diggs gone. I got Steele gone. Steele would be a 10 million cap savings. Diggs would be 12 million cap savings, and then Clark is 21 million cap savings. If he doesn't restructure his deal, I think he would be gone too, since you got Osa. I'd like to keep Clark, but not at 21.5 million. They could restructure Dak and CD. That would free up. I mean, they could have well over $100 million of cap space. So that's why I think when you look at the free agents, I'm just going to throw stuff out there and you guys kind of chime in. And we're going to focus on the cap and free agency. So I think the cap, they're set up for a couple-year run, if they were going to get everything right. Free agency, you got Pickens. I mean, really, they don't have as many free agents as you think, Greg. Their key free agents are Pickens, Hoffman, Bass, Aubrey, which is key, and Javonte Williams, which running backs, if he wants to sign for a reasonable deal, I want Javonte Williams back. I love the way he runs the football. He's young. So if you can get him on a 3-year deal, kind of like what Pollard signed for Tennessee, if he's willing to do something like that, I'd definitely bring him back. But they could bring Pickens back. But looking at the cap in free agency, are there any other cap casualties that you guys would be thinking of that I didn't mention? Free agents, or are you guys for or against Pickens? Are you still on the fence of when I'm saying sign him, not franchise, sign him?
Right. Okay.
What's your thoughts, Jeff? And then we'll let you, Greg, finish up, just focusing on the cap and free agency. Then we'll get to the players.
So personally, I think I want to keep Pickens. I think Pickens and CD are such a dynamic duo. But I don't want us to be in a situation where we end up like Cincinnati. Yeah. And I think Pickens definitely he still has some growing up to do. He still has some maturing to do. There's too many times in the game where he just kind of, he's not relevant. And he's too good of a player to go a quarter, 2 quarters without mentioning his name or a ball even thrown in his direction. But my concern is Jerry going to pay him? Because I think he's going to franchise. And that's going to cause additional issues. This is the Jerry Jones way. Everything, we're all sitting here saying, re-sign Pickens. You guys figure it out. Figure out how to do it. If you need to go with Dak and say, hey, we'd like to restructure your contract. Hey, CD, we'd like to restructure your contract. This is what we're doing. I bet you they're both on board.
Yeah, but they're going to have to restructure both of them. They're going to have to.
But what has Jerry shown us that gives either of you guys confidence that he's not going to sit there and say, I'm going to hit the franchise button on Pickens and he's our property. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah,
I'm just saying to me, that is one of the biggest decisions, and especially how you handle that situation. if you handle that situation the right way, it's going to be completely opposite of what Jerry wants. Jerry loves for us to always be in the news.
Yes.
That would be something nice and quiet that's taken care of, that's done the way real professional teams operate. And everything that I've seen from Jerry leads me to believe he'll do the exact opposite of that.
Yeah.
I'm in agreement with you, Mike. I want to resign Williams. I think he's done a great job for us. A nice 3-year contract. What Pollard was, $11 million a year?
Yeah, $11 million over 3 years.
Absolutely. And I like what Malik Davis has done to spell him in the past few games.
I think what's missing is with sport and this is where they missed on Jadon Blue. I don't know if you guys are giving up on him yet, but they do not have that pass catching running back threat that they had in the past that was always there. Javonte Williams he's a bruiser, man. He's physical. You saw him just absolutely annihilate that Washington linebacker, safety, whoever it was. But
number 0 just ran straight over top.
Yeah, just ran. I mean, I think it brings a mentality, right? So
mashed him, loved it. I yelled at the TV on that point. I love Flanoy. I'm glad that wasn't a serious knee injury.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I still have faith in Turpin. What they should have done against Minnesota, it's the exact same thing against Washington.
100%.
And Dak hit him right in stride.
Yeah.
When you have a play like that, guess what? Those safeties, we can't run with him. We got to move back. Yeah. And that allows the time that you need for CD and Pickens, because a lot of the routes trees that they run, it takes time to develop.
Mm-hmm.
So you need someone who's going to sit there and, I just need you to be a decoy a lot of times and just run. Because guess what? The safety's got to run with you. Because if they don't, that one time you don't, that's what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So we have so many good things going on offense. We restructured some contracts, fill some pieces in. If it's a nice, quiet offseason where we do the right things during the draft, say we get that cornerback from Ohio State, right? Say we pick up some linebackers and some safeties, maybe 1 or 2 in free agency. We restructure the contract, the big contracts. We re-sign Pickens, nice and quietly. We get rid of Steele. We bring someone else in. There's so many good things. Like it's a bunch of retooling, but that retooling could get us in prime position to be an impactful team next year.
Yeah.
And a general manager would do everything you just said. Listen,
we got it, Greg. That is never happening.
No, I'm not going to I ain't going to get on that anymore. I'm afraid that Jerry he's going to blow the coop and franchise tag Pickens. And ever since this season, when I'm saying we need to bring him back, all I've been thinking about is, oh my God. Here we go with the emotional bunny rabbit. He's going to franchise tag Pickens, and if Pickens gets pissed, he's going to get rid of him because his ego is going to strike him again. And he's going to try to claim I guarantee you, Jerry's going to get in the media and try to code his conversations on why he needs to probably franchise Pickens, and then this big rainbow of money after that, which he ain't going to promise him. Because if he tries to franchise Pickens, I guarantee you somebody else going to say, look, man, look at this pot of money I got for you, period. Yeah. Pickens' attitude, none of that bothers me. Same thing we had with Dez, same thing we had with T.O., no big deal. They still produce for us like we needed. Maffa, nobody's even talked about Maffa this season, Clemson boy. Nobody's talked about him. So we don't know what happened to him. We don't know what happened to Blue. And Pickens is the number 1 priority right now. If I'm Jerry, I'm talking to Pickens now. I'm talking to his agent now.
Talk to his agent. Do not talk to him. We just saw what took place. Talk to his agent.
I don't mean doing the Coke machine thing, pull him around the Coke machine like he did with Parsons. When I say him, I mean in his agent. Talk to his agent now so we can get some type of deal and know exactly where we stand, because we got plenty of time now to work that out. We sign Pickens, and then move on to the next one, because Pickens lines up everything else. And if he doesn't sign Pickens and he wants to franchise tag him, and Pickens doesn't want that because he deserves the money and he wants the money and he's gone, we're right back where we started. Jerry comes on the media and feeds us some bullshit about, oh, we're going to get a wide receiver out the draft and this guy's the best. No. And I've been saying for 2 seasons that Turpin is the speed demon, and we need to have plays designed for Turpin's downfield, because if we do that, nobody can catch that speed demon. Fastest guy in the USFL, MVP of the USFL, fastest in the league, and we don't use him accordingly. And just like you said, Jeff, if we use him accordingly downfield, it opens up everything underneath. And that would even enhance the offense. But Jerry is going to have me on pins and needles, wondering if that management confession he made is something he's seriously pondering, and that he's going to do something about it, even if it's not a GM, that he's going to manage differently and start from right after this last game up to the draft and do the things that everybody else does that flows the process. If he does that, then I know he's finally in life had an epiphany and put his ego aside and decided this is what we're going to do, and then do the right things. And I wouldn't blame him for that if he followed the process. I wouldn't blame him for that, because at least he's on the process. But I am so scared. I am not. Well, I mean, I'm not confident. I'm not confident that he's going to sign Pickens.
But the reality of it is, it's very hard to have 2 receivers making 30+ million. So what they have to have the mindset, and that can be done. Their mindset has to be this: we have a 2-year window, and it's going to blow up after 2 years, and we're going to end up being like the Rams. You end up being like one of the Broncos. You're going to have to make drastic cap casualties and eat a lot of money, but you just hope you snatch a Super Bowl in 2 years. If they re-sign Pickens, they've got to take all their draft capital. But I know Ultras, Cowboys like, best player available. It has to be defense. They've got to focus all their attention on getting that defense, get the best defensive coordinator they can find, build a defense, because you're going to have a 2-year window, maybe 3 if you're lucky, but maybe 3, maybe 3. But it's going to blow up, and it's going to happen, because you can't be that top heavy, because what you're going to do is you're going to spread Dak out more. You're going to spread CD out more. You're gonna have to backload some of these contracts that you've got and spread the money, and knowing there's going to be judgment days going to come, and you're going to end up with nothing. And I'll take that. I got no problem with it. That's business, and you give me a Super Bowl as that. So that's how it can work. Now, is Jerry and the Cowboys willing to do that? Are they willing? Because you could say what you want about the Cowboys have had their 20 years, no Super Bowls, which is what we're pissed about. But this team has been good and been one of the top 5 records over the last 20 years, but they haven't been able to get over the hump because they're not doing the drastic moves that some of these other teams have done. That's what's really kind of hurt them. They're owning conservative. And Jerry used to be the risk taker. He's not the risk taker. He's been very conservative. Look at the free agents, very conservative. The draft, very conservative. So they need to go out and just take some risk, and Pickens would be that risk. But the only way it's going to work is if they go defense heavy in the draft, because you have to have low money on defense. You got to have all your money on the offense, and you're going to have depth and just some dogs mentality. It's the same thing. I was listening to, not to ramble, but I was watching another one, the 30 for 30 on the 85 Bears was on before I jumped on the show, and I'm listening to Mike Ditka, and he told these guys, I got good news and bad news. And they're like, what? Well, what's the good news first? Good news is, in 3 years, you guys trust me, you're going to get a Super Bowl. The bad news is half of you guys ain't going to be here. And when he looked at the talent and he looked at things, he said, I don't care about 40 time. I don't care about this. I want football players. I want guys who eat, sleep, and drink football. I want to see their tenacity on the field, all that. And that's what the Cowboys don't have enough of, those guys. We've got the glam guys. We've got the all-world athletes. But we don't have, if you watch the Texans, go watch, who's that damn defense? The Broncos defense. Outside of Sertan and these other guys, you don't know half their guys. But they're nasty mofos, and they will light your ass up. That's what we don't have enough of. Sorry, I rambled on.
It's good, but look, I'm a Cowboy. Look, we're all Cowboy fans, but I'm a real Cowboys fan. Like we're real Cowboy fans. My heart gives me optimism of all the things we talked about taking place and how good our team could be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My head tells me Jerry's gonna mess this up.
Mm-hmm.
Like we see it. It is literally a bunch of small transactions, nice and quiet, fly under the radar. Don't be that team where everyone's talking about, oh, I can't believe they did this. They're losing, and they're losing in the offseason. No, there's so many things. There's so many logical things that we could do. And now, granted, there's certain things that we're going to have to do that we're probably going to, it may miss, may make. Like that flyer that we took on Kendricks last year, didn't really pan out. The Logan Wilson this year didn't pan out. We're going to have to take a couple of those if we re-sign Pickens, because he's going to want 30 plus, right?
Yeah.
But it's going to be imperative that we get dogs on the defensive side in the draft. And Mike, you and I have talked about this. You can't go get those from Boise State. I'm sorry. That's not a shot at anybody, but you can't get those at Boise State, really. You need to go to the U's. You need to go to the Ohio States. You need to go to the Bamas. You need to go to the Georgias. You need to get dogs.
Yep.
And you got them on those rookie contracts. Depending what round you get them, you got them from 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
You got a lot of money on defense or on offense, but if you're talent heavy on defense with those low rookie dollars, you extend the amount of time you have in order to win a chip.
Yeah.
And all these things are so common sense, which is why I look at it and I'm like, Jerry's never going to do this because it's it's just common sense.
Yeah, and that's what I said. It's not like it's a Rubik's Cube. And my thing is, if Pickens doesn't want the franchise tag, we're done with him. Jerry, if he says, Jerry, I'm gonna tell you now, the agent says he's not taking the franchise tag. So you got to come close to what he wants. Jerry ain't doing it.
All right, I'm gonna play devil's advocate with you both. Here's my question. Jerry puts him on franchise. A team comes in and says, okay, I'm willing to give 2 first rounders before the draft.
He's gone.
You guys good with that?
He's gone.
I don't want the 2 first rounders.
I'll take the 2 first.
I wouldn't because, and I've always felt this about first rounders. They are proven in college. They ain't proved themselves in the NFL. And if you got somebody like a Pickens, somebody ain't coming on that first round that like Pickens. You're pulling a needle out of a haystack, hoping and praying that this first rounder is going to replace Pickens. No, he can't replace the experience that he has in the NFL with the speed, with the schemes that he's been playing and knowing how to play in his first year. No, so we're starting over there. I don't care if they want to give us 2 first rounders for him. Nope, sign Pickens. Sign Pickens. He's solid. We know what we need with him. We don't have to worry about developing and cultivating this other guy. 2 first rounders don't mean nothing to me. There's been bust in the first round ever since the draft has started. And then when they come in, they can't light up nothing. We don't know what they are, but we know what Pickens is.
All right, Mike, what's your thoughts?
Use the first round with the picks we got to get some defensive players. And then you can get some hungry dogs that are hungry to be in the league in the next rounds going down, because that's where you find your meat and potatoes, not necessarily the first round. It's that 3rd, 4th, and 5th round, even in the 6th round. That's when you get guys that come in, know they got to fight for a job and not have the luxury of knowing that you got the job. And that's where those dogs outshine a lot of people on the field. So Pickens needs to be the sign. I don't want to hear nothing come out of Cowboys camp. The first thing I want to hear come out of Cowboys camp in the offseason is we have signed Pickens, because I have a strong feeling that Pickens is going to say, hell with that franchise tag. I'm getting my money now. And he will go. He will not stay for a franchise tag. Because
he wouldn't have a choice. And I think to the point of, Sports said, he'll eventually come. And I don't think any of us doubt he ain't going to hold out all year. I mean, he's not going to miss out on that kind of money. But to the point I think you're making, Greg and Jeff and we talked about, it's just a distraction that comes with. He won't be in training camp. It's going to be a media problem. And you're already losing, you're losing right from the start. That's just not a formula of winning and building the locker room and camaraderie, because now you're going to have guys picking sides, right?
Yep.
This guy's this.
We want the focus to be on ball.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we don't want it to be on money. We don't want it to be on contracts. We want it to be on ball. That's it.
And you know how some people talk about how fragile Pickens might be right now. Put that in his head. If you think you got problems with him now, and I don't think the problems are substantial, but you think you got problems now, mess with his money, put that in his head, and watch that come back out. It's gonna really come out then. And then now we've created a monster.
Yeah. No, I agree. One of the other things, and again, you guys make sure you hit that subscribe, thumbs up down below. Hit that thumbs up, hit that like, hit that subscribe if you're new to the channel. I know we got a lot of new people watching. And also, just so you know, you can join the Cowboys Cave family. We do have memberships. You'll see a little thing that says join. You can be part of the family. We do a lot of giveaways. We're going to be doing some member-only stuff during the off season. So we're going to have some fun with it. So you can be part of the Cowboys Cave family doing that. So if you'd love it, do it. If not, no big deal. We move on to the next one. The big deal is to hit that like button. Some positives. I think some of the positives that I saw from this season too, everything's on offense, right? Obviously, Dak had another, he plays a full season, had another strong year. But I saw Williams, and some people saying don't pay a running back. I don't think you're going to need to pay him Saquon Barkley, McCaffrey money. I don't think you need to do that, but I think you can pay him Pollard. I think you can pay him that kind of money, which isn't a high dollar. He had 1,200 yards, 4.8 yards a carry, 11 touchdowns. Again, if you pair him up with a Thunder Lightning, we thought Jadon Blue was going to be that guy. Jury, I guess, may still be out, but if you didn't sniff the field the whole year, that tells me probably you ain't the guy. So I'm probably done with him. And this is why I know Ultra and some others say you draft a running back. Don't pay a running draft. If we just would have did draft a running back and not paid and got, Javonte Williams or something like that, which we signed him reasonable, and I think they could re-sign him reasonable, our running back room would be Malik Davis and Jadon Blue would be out on the field. And that would be a problem. So I think if you're in for the 2-year plan, you sign Williams if you can get him. Now, I'm not overpaying, but if I can get him, I'm going to sign him. And then really, to me, one of the brightest spots on this offense was Flournoy. I think he has set himself up as a legit 3, could be a future 2 if the Cowboys, eventually move on from one of the 2 guys, because they're going to have to at some point. I thought he had a big year, 38 catches, over 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, big plays. Most of those yards came the last half of the year. Tolbert, and it kind of showed what the Cowboys thought of Mingo, right? Because when Flournoy went out, I mean, Tolbert, who Tolbert's gone. I mean, they deactivated. You couldn't even see Mingo. So that was another mistake by the Cowboys' desperate move. But I don't mind desperate moves if you're trying. You're not going to hit 100%. So I don't kill him for the Mingo move, but it looks like he's not the answer. But I love what Flournoy has done with the Cowboys. I think was a big bright spot in a dim season for them. Any thoughts on him, or was there anyone else that kind of stood out? Not the obvious ones, but anyone else that maybe stood out on the offensive side?
I still, and I talked about this last year, and you and I kind of differed a little bit, but Jake Ferguson, I like what Jake Ferguson offers on the offense.
Yeah.
He had 80 some catches this year. So for me, him and Dak seem extremely comfortable with each other. As long as he can stay healthy, I like what he provides from a tight end. And as long as his cap number is nice and manageable, I'm good with that. I was never really big on Shoemaker, but I guess he's serviceable.
Yeah.
Flournoy, I gotta agree with you. He's what we wanted and thought Tolbert was going to be.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that his knees are healthy, because I think he's already had a previous knee injury.
Mm-hmm.
But I like what I saw over the last half of this season with him. So happy about that. I was very skeptical about the Mingo trade when we made it. There's nothing. I think he's only been active 5 times this year. So that just tells you that was a miss. Offensively, Steele's got to go.
Yeah.
And I don't care who you pick up to put in that place, they will be better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's the amount of disappointment that I have in him, being familiar with Dallas, being familiar with what we do, and how poor his performance has been.
Yeah.
So now it's just we need our 3 first rounders to be available week in, week out.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of good that can happen on our offense. For me, I'm good. I like Jake Ferguson. I like what he did this year. The chemistry between him and Dak. I think that's a good bond right there. And quarterback's best friend is a tight end.
Yeah, he had 8 touchdowns. He didn't get the end zone all last year with Dak hurt. And all of everything that even when Dak was playing, he had no touchdowns all last year. So definitely a good bounce back season for him coming off the concussions and things like that.
Yeah, and Schoonmaker, he's a possession receiver. He's okay. He's a possession receiver. So you just need somebody to get the first down and get right there and get it.
I like that Spanford. I like him better than Schoonmaker.
I like Spanford too. But Guyton, one thing about Steele, I'm not gonna say Steele disappointed me. Steele just ran his course in the NFL. His body is he's been in long enough. He's been the best he can be. He peaked and then he started declining because of the endurance of the NFL, the amount of years he's been with the Cowboys, and it's just time. His time has come.
I mean, he was an undrafted free agent. I mean, it's a pretty damn good career that he made of himself being an undrafted free agent. So we're not knocking him, but I don't think.
He just ran his course. It's time to go. Guyton has improved because we don't see those penalties from Guyton anymore from jumping on the line of scrimmage. So that's been good. So we know that Guyton's going to be solid going forward. Booker's been solid. Flournoy is definitely a keeper. And I think Tolbert, I'm not sure. I think Tolbert may just squeak another year. For a long time, I thought Tolbert's gone because I noticed they weren't playing Tolbert. They had him on the sideline. I was like, he's probably going to be on the chopping block, trading block. Tolbert may squeak in because of the Mingo not working out and these other receivers that we have that just won't be there. So Tolbert may squeak out as that last receiver on the court. But it wouldn't surprise me if they use Tolbert for trade bait because you will get something out of him. I'm not saying you're going to get a whole lot.
They only keep him if he can do things on special teams.
Yes.
He's not going to be he's going to be 5th, 6th receiver.
Right.
So if he can't play special teams, he'll be gone.
Right. And Tolbert's a good receiver. He's a good wide receiver. It's just you got this fresh blood coming in with Flournoy and these fresh legs and fresh experience, and he's a little bit more hungry. So Tolbert, I'm not hating Tolbert. I like what he's done for us. He reminds me of what was Terrence Williams we had. He reminds me of him. And I just think Tolbert may squeak in there. Now, on the offensive line, nobody on that offensive line comes to mind as far as anything negative. The only person that comes to mind is Guyton, how he's improved on his defensive play and the penalties that killed us last year. Running backs,
he's just got to stay healthy. He's been injured. Yeah. I mean, that's been his biggest
thing. And all our offensive line last 2 seasons have been having health issues, but we got enough deep, and we might compliment 1 or 2 during the draft in the later round. Javonte, I hope sign him, because that's the base. That's the base of our running backs right there. I don't know what's going to happen with Maffa. I don't know what's going to happen with Jaden Blue. If they develop or if we decide to keep them and see if one of them's going to develop in the offseason. If not, then they'll be gone. But on offense, I don't really see a lot that can't be complemented with these drafts in the 4th, 5th, and 6th round. If it comes down to that, if we shored up the defense the way we want and we feel positive about that coming past the 3rd round in the draft, and then if we got that defense the way we want, then we're positive with it because we still have the off season before the season starts for players to move from this team to this team, practice squad, or we pick up this player and you don't pay that much to get them in their own defense. Because I'm really counting I'm really counting on us getting some players, experience, not years-long experience, but some experienced players whose contracts are up with other teams. Yeah. And we can get them not on the cheap, but we can get them affordably enough, and they're hungry dogs that can complement our defense. Because no matter what we get in the draft on defense, we need some experience, people that's in the NFL, that's used to the speed, used to the schemes, coming from those other teams that no longer have contracts to help meld together the draft picks we get. Then we'll be healthy as hell on defense.
There's one point on that, Greg. The only way that happens is if they restructure the contracts early after the season ends.
Yeah.
Too often we wait till right before the season ends, and then we have all this cap space. That ain't do us any good. And if you do it early in the offseason, then we can be a little bit more aggressive and bring in some free agents for a little bit more money.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what we talked about. That is common, basic sense. As you said, logical. It's just a process that is set in stone. If you follow it, you'll be much better than you were in the past. And the verdict is still out as to, I wish somebody would interview Jerry and say, Jerry, what actually did you mean when you confess that management has been the biggest, and he said the biggest role in our demise?
He's gonna get amnesia.
Yeah, and what did you mean by that? And not only what did you mean by that, what is your thinking going forward? I would love to see that interview with him after that, so I can have a sense of whether his mindset is leaning towards that, and the hope that you have is that he's going to try to do better, or that he just said it because, as a used car salesman says, you can get this right here, it's just like a brand new one, and I just keep everybody's attention and hope alive, buy jerseys and stay with the Cowboys, but I'm going to continue to do the same thing that I was doing. Because if he would come out with another interview and tell us what he meant by that, we've never heard him admit any blunders except the Jimmy Johnson 25 years later, and now 30 years later, he admits management. You know who he's talking about. He can't be talking about his son, his daughters. He's talking about himself. So maybe he's easing it out that he's going to do something different because he wants people to understand I'm taking the bullet this time. And because of all the intention that he got last year that was bullseyed on him, and his age is coming up, he's realizing I better do something quick before I start getting senile and don't even recognize the building I'm walking in. So if he does that, then we can start seeing some positive steps. Because, man, I'm telling you, I want to get deep. I want to get in at least NFC Championship before I get in my 80s. I really do. I do.
Well, tomorrow's the only thing I would say, just to temper, expectations. If the Cowboys sign Pickens, don't expect big splashes in free agency. They're not going to have the money. I mean, they're going to have to be very strategic and value. That's what they're going to have to be if they sign Pickens. You can't have it. We can't have it all. That's why the draft is so critical for them to do the Pickens. They have got to hit on the draft on defense because they're going to have to fill those voids. And I'll just tell you this, and Greg, you can attest to it, and Jeff, you felt the wrath of it when we played Florida State. A good defensive coordinator makes a huge difference. Miami's defense
1,000%
is the same defense, same core defense they had, same players pretty much that they had the year before that cost Cam Newton an opportunity. If Cam Newton had this defense, Miami wins a national championship.
Yes.
And it's changing the defensive coordinator and the mindset and just their philosophy. So coaching is so impactful in the NFL more than anything else. So I think there's definitely opportunity if the Dallas Cowboys do the right thing. And there's no salary cap on coaches. Go out and get the best damn guy, right? That's what we talked about. But yeah, so they can create, the Cowboys can create the cap room that they need, and if they want to make that 2-year run. But like I said, if they get Pickens, I think they're gonna have to kind of, and still get good guys. I mean, they're just not gonna go get the top linebacker and free agents. They're gonna have to go that middle guy. But like you said, get dogs, get guys that have a chip on the shoulder, got a little attitude, that ain't tasted, that kind of, success and the money, that just want to make a name for themselves, get out of someone's shadow. I mean, think of the Cowboys in the 90s, and you had, you're so deep in all this position. Then you had guys going to other teams to make a name for them, like Robert Jones and then Darren Smith and Larry Brown. All these guys kind of went on because they wanted to obviously get paid, but they wanted to get out of the shadow of their other guys. So we'll see. But
Javonte Williams is a good example. Javonte Williams is a great example of that definition you just gave with Denver. He didn't feel like he was given the respect at Denver because he got hurt, but he knew he was better when he came to Dallas. We see that. We see it, and we got it. And that's the thing. That's why I say I don't care if sign Pickens. I don't care about get these big shiny pennies. There are other Javonte Williams out there that are ready to play on defense. Get those guys to complement our our draft picks on defense, and they can learn from them. They can meld together, and we'll have a hell of a defense. There are Javonte Williams out there all over the league that can play defense. We just had to get them. And I'll say this last part. You know what kills me the most when I think about our management? I sit here and think about because how so easy the process can be. I really mean this when I say this. I really feel if I was given 90 days side by side with Jerry and his son, that if they would listen to me just speak the process and they would listen, it would be amazing how if somebody at the lowest level of Cowboys fandom as me can give them common sense on the process they need to follow, that would make a dramatic difference. And I'm nobody up there in the general manager realm or somebody in the deep technology of football. Just sit there and say, Jerry, start before the season, do this. Don't even name names of who to get and say, just stick to this process. Just stick. And then I can walk out of there and they say, it was a fan that been with them since he was 5 years old. All he did was convince Jerry to follow the process that the other 31 teams did and look at the difference. Because all of y'all have said it yourself. All of y'all have said, I wish I had 10 minutes with Jerry and he would just listen, talking about the basic process.
Greg, I know where you stand on this, but I'm going to ask Mike this question.
What's up?
If you had a choice between re-signing Pickens and paying him $30 million or getting 2 first-round draft picks for him, which direction do you go?
If 2 first-round draft picks and we have 2 already, so that'd give us 3 first-round draft picks, I would probably take the draft pick. Only, I think receiver is in college football now, the way it's so much more advanced, you can transition receivers a lot. It's not like years past where it was kind of like, we got to give the guy 3 years. We got to give him, it takes time to go to the NFL style offense. College football is so much more advanced. I think for the value of long-term, I'd roll the dice and go 2 1s. I would do that in a minute.
So that's where I am. And I know Greg is big on Pickens, and I understand the benefit of that.
Yeah.
But if we got into a situation like that, from a longevity standpoint,
yes,
for us to be contenders, not just from a 2-year span, you maybe change that from a 2-year span to a 5-year span.
Yeah.
Because this is what the Patriots used to do. Like Belichick always traded people a year early. And people were like, why are you getting rid of him? He's still impactful.
Look how many rings Belichick got doing it. When we can do the same.
That's my point.
All we talk about in Dallas.
My point.
All we talk about in Dallas is longevity. We're going to be good in 3 to 5 years. Next year, we're going to be good in 3 to 5 years.
No, I'm talking about being consistently good over that time span. I'm not talking about be good I'm talking about being consistently good for the duration.
Yeah.
30 years. We've been consistently good for 30 years.
But we haven't been. We've had a winning record. This will probably be our first losing season in decades if we don't win this game against I see.
But look at Belichick. What New England does in all those rings, they succeeded by what you're saying, but they had a general manager. That general manager didn't just sit there and the owner did everything. That general manager is the key to
my New Year's resolution for Greg is I don't want to hear about general manager and Cowboys ever again.
It's gonna happen.
It's never going to happen.
Hey, my New Year's resolution is general manager, sign Pickens. Jerry, let me drive you to assisted living facility. I'll even cook you breakfast before I take you.
No, but hey, man, hey, great show, great time. I've got to go to my in-laws, so I'm gonna have to bounce out of here. But we're gonna continue. We're gonna do a college football playoff show. Welcome all of you guys to join that. It's gonna be focused on Miami, of course. Thank you. But we're gonna get it. We got to give Kelly his due for Texas Tech. So Miami plays New Year's Eve. The rest of the 3 games are going to be New Year's Day. So expecting some good stuff. But want to give you the last word, Jeff. Probably the most important thing on my mind right now: Cowboys Giants next week, and we'll have a show before that game. But do you think Cowboys are playing any of their guys? I mean, I have a $300 bet on the line here. I need them to win. Do you think the Giants are going to play any of their guys? I mean, would they take a chance rolling their guys out? I mean, how do you think this last game's going to be? It matters for nobody.
So I think for the first half, I think Dallas plays everyone. I think the Giants play everybody.
All right.
At least for the first half. I think the Cowboys, and Dak came out and said it, there's a bit of pride. Like, I don't want to sit and watch other people play. I want to play. I want to ball.
And Dak's never had a losing record as a starter. If they lose, that'll be the first time.
I kind of feel like they're playing because I think they're all upset about how the season has ended, right? So I feel like they all have points to prove, especially on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
Because otherwise they know they're on the chopping block. I think we're going to play, and I wouldn't be surprised if we play our starters well into the third quarter, maybe into the fourth quarter. And then you bring in Milton and other players like that. The Giants. I think the Giants will play their starters because, especially from a quarterback perspective.
But they got their number 1 pick locked up if they win.
But I'm just saying, the more reps they have, the better they are, right?
Yeah.
And depending on what they want and what they're looking for, they may not need the first pick. I'll take the second pick or the third pick and get the person that I want at a less cap hit, less salary, right? So they may be thinking that, but let their quarterback get hit hard one more time. They'll yank him out of the game, and we'll go from there. We'll see Jameis in there throwing for 400 and 4 touchdowns, 2 for us and 2 for them. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we could see that. I am hopeful, for Mike. I told you, I thought the 8 was in the bag.
In the bag.
I thought it was in the bag. And
especially after the Chiefs game, it was like, oh, we got this thing figured out.
But I picked us to lose against the Lions. But I'm like, we're going to beat Minnesota. We're going to beat the Chargers. And we'll go from there. And we just laid down. I mean, probably a quarter and a half each game where we played well and then laid down. So I think both teams play starters. Yeah. And I'm hopeful that you make your money off that, because there's no reason why we shouldn't win that game.
Yeah.
No. And I would not play Pickens this last game.
Why?
I would not, because I don't want Pickens to get hurt. I don't want a freak accident. We got enough. Look, we got Flournoy, we got Lamb, and they can put Tolbert and Turpin. The Giants.
You're not worried about CD getting hurt, but you're worried about Pickens getting hurt?
No. I'm worried about CD getting hurt. But if we're going to play starters, the one that I wouldn't want to put in the game right now is Pickens, because we're looking at signing Pickens. And pray tell, we get one of those. What happened to, what's his name? Played with Seattle, was looking for the contract, got hurt, and then they pulled him off the field in the stretch, and he did like this to the team. Earl
Thomas.
Earl Thomas. I don't want Earl Thomas to happen. We got enough wide receivers that need to be playing for their jobs to see where they're going to go to really feature Flournoy, Turbot, and Turpin in this game against the Giants.
Is Flournoy even going to play? I don't think Flournoy is going to play.
I don't know if he is or not.
But that knee. So you got Tolbert, you got Mingo. I mean,
and Turpin.
So we already know what Mingo is. Mingo's going to be gone.
If you're going to roll out those receivers, don't roll Dak out with them. Then just
but still, I wouldn't play Pickens, and if I did, sparingly in this game, and then get them out of there. The Giants, I don't think the Giants going to have their starting quarterback play in this game, and then I don't see much that the Giants are going to try to do, except those players that are on the bucket looking to try to prove a point to get jobs. Because we got some trying to do the same thing, finish strong, because they're looking at making their tape available for other teams that they know may be needing for somebody out there. So
yeah, and I mean, we didn't get into it. We'll do another show about it. But like even Shoddy, I mean, for him, he don't want to go.
Absolutely.
No.
You think he wants a losing record his first season as a head coach? Absolutely not.
Yeah, we want to win. We want to win. But I think we can beat the Giants without Pickens. I really do.
Look,
we'll see.
You know,
we'll see.
I'm not a person like that. Like if I got a game to play,
we'll play. Yeah.
Me too. I'm that way too. But right now, for me, with Pickens, and we want to sign him, whether it's a franchise tag or sign him. I've seen stuff in the NFL where that last game, somebody gets hurt, and it's like, damn. And I know if he gets hurt, I don't care if it's minor. Jerry's like, oh, he ain't coming back. I'm getting peanuts off of him.
Yeah.
And we don't need him for this game. We really don't need Pickens for this game. We got.
I think the Giants are not going to play their guys. I think they're going to be content with getting the draft pick and be done with it. But anyway, hey guys, we're gonna roll out of here, man. Enjoy the Sunday. Like I said, I got family stuff I'm gonna do, so I won't be able to see a lot of football, but we'll see what happens. Maybe catch a. I don't know what's a night game. Is there even a good night game tonight?
Oh yeah, Buffalo and not Buffalo.
What's a night game? I don't even know.
Is it Buffalo and Philadelphia?
Yeah, I think that's like a 4:00 game.
But there's a big night game coming on. Oh, 49ers and the Bears.
Seattle? Who?
49ers and the Bears.
49. Oh, that'll be good. That'll be good. So Bears won that division. It's going to be wild. But we're going to get into the playoffs. We'll do all that. But we still got another week after this week. But definitely appreciate the love. Thanks, Cuts, for being on. Merry Christmas. If I don't talk to you guys, we will be doing a college show. So I know a lot of you guys are pros guys, but if you want to get into college, we'll be doing a show either Monday or Tuesday. I got to work it all out. But if not, you guys have a happy new year. We'll see you next week. Appreciate it. Enjoy your Sunday. That's the only bad part. Like I'm so messed up with the days, but today is Sunday. I got it right. Have a great Sunday. We'll see you guys. See you.
Give me somebody that's hungry. Give me somebody that's hungry. I need somebody.